Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about one of our favorite topics. How will the world look like in 10 years from now? Today we'll be looking at Saudi Arabia and answer the question. Will Saudi Arabia become the most powerful country in the world in 10 years? To answer this question, we will be speaking with our AI experts, which has been analyzing a huge amount of data about this topic. So without further ado, let's ask them our questions. Let us begin by discussing the foundational pillars Saudi Arabia is relying on in its quest to become a global power. How do you view projects like NEOM, the Red Sea project, and the line in this context? This is a great question and touches upon the core of Saudi Arabia's grand ambitions. NEOM, the Red Sea project, and the line are the crown jewels of the kingdom's transformation plans. Their success is vital to achieving the goals set out in Vision 2030. However, their significance extends beyond just being tourist attractions or economic zones. They represent a paradigm shift in how the Saudi economy functions. Instead of relying solely on oil and gas, these projects aim to diversify the economy into sectors like tourism, entertainment, and technology. Moreover, they showcase the kingdom's determination to shift away from its image as a conservative religious state towards becoming a modern, dynamic, and open country. The potential impact of these projects on Saudi Arabia's economic, social, and geopolitical standing cannot be overstated. The projects hold the promise of creating new industries, job opportunities, and revenue streams that could propel the kingdom onto the global stage as a major economic player. Nevertheless, as with any ambitious undertaking, challenges and risks are aplenty, from environmental concerns to financial sustainability. These projects must overcome numerous obstacles to truly cement Saudi Arabia's position as a global power in the coming decade. These megaprojects indeed represent a qualitative leap in the kingdom's economic vision. But I believe the biggest challenge lies not in construction, but in establishing a truly sustainable economic model. For example, NEOM aims to attract $500 billion in investments. Is this realistic, given global competition for investments? This is a very astute observation. While the scale and ambition of projects like NEOM are inspiring, their financial viability in the long run remains a critical question. The $500 billion investment target is indeed ambitious, and whether or not it's realistic is debatable. The global investment landscape is highly competitive, and attracting such a large sum of foreign direct investment will require not only grand plans, but also tangible results, a track record of success, and a stable investment climate. Additionally, investors will be looking for a clear return on their investment. With so much money involved, there needs to be a robust and transparent system of governance and risk management. The success of these projects will hinge on the ability of the kingdom to demonstrate fiscal responsibility, diversify its economy, and create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive. Saudi Arabia has the first, but what about the other two? Saudi Arabia does have abundant capital reserves. However, the real crux of the matter lies in effectively utilizing these resources. Capital alone cannot drive the complex process of economic transformation. It needs to be directed, invested, and managed strategically. More importantly, there's a need for expertise and know-how in various sectors to ensure these investments yield the desired results. This brings in the second element, competencies. This refers to the human capital and institutional capacity needed to manage and execute these ambitious plans. Does Saudi Arabia have the necessary pool of skilled workers, own managers and leaders to oversee these megaprojects and steer the country's economic diversification? The challenge here is not just about having the money, but also having the people with the right skills and knowledge to put that money to work. Then there's the third element, the appropriate regulatory environment. This includes not just laws and policies, but also the culture and practices that support investment and entrepreneurship. Is the kingdom doing enough to foster innovation, protect intellectual property, and ensure ease of doing business? Without these three elements working in harmony, even the best-laid plans can falter. The story of many resource-rich nations serves as a reminder that wealth in itself does not guarantee progress. Effective governance, skilled human capital, and a favorable business environment are equally crucial. Saudi Arabia has taken some positive steps, like introducing new business regulations and investing in education. But sustained progress will require continuous effort and reform. This leads us to the topic of social and educational reforms. We're seeing significant changes in women's empowerment and education development. Do you think these changes are sufficient to build a generation capable of leading economic transformation? This is a very pertinent question. Social and educational reforms are often the backbone of any nation's long-term prosperity. Saudi Arabia has indeed made notable strides in this area, particularly with regards to women's rights and access to education. However, whether these changes are sufficient to produce the generation needed for its ambitious vision is debatable. One could argue that the reforms have opened up opportunities for women, allowing them to participate more actively in the workforce and contribute to the economy. Furthermore, investments in education are crucial for building a skilled and knowledgeable population, which is essential for economic diversification. However, the pace and depth of these reforms are crucial. Can the current trajectory of change yield the kind of skilled and innovative workforce that Saudi Arabia envisions for 2030? Or are there systemic issues and cultural norms that need to be addressed more aggressively? Additionally, the impact of these reforms on the younger generation, who will be the primary drivers of the envisioned transformation, remains to be seen. It's a delicate balancing act, navigating tradition and modernity to create a society that is both prosperous and inclusive. Only time will tell if the seeds sown today will yield the desired harvest in the next decade. How does regional and international alliances affect Saudi Arabia's ambitions? This is an excellent question, as geopolitics plays a pivotal role in the trajectory of any nation. Saudi Arabia's strategic location at the crossroads of Asia, Africa, and the Middle East gives it a significant geopolitical advantage. However, this advantage is not static, and the kingdom's alliances and partnerships will significantly shape its future. Maintaining good relations with key players like the United States, China, and various European nations can provide Saudi Arabia with the diplomatic, economic, and military support it needs to pursue its ambitious goals. The kingdom's traditional alliance with the U.S. is multifaceted, covering trade, investment, and security. China, on the other hand, represents a growing economic partnership with significant trade flows and joint investments. As the rivalry between the U.S. and China intensifies, Saudi Arabia's position could become increasingly delicate, requiring astute diplomatic maneuvering. Regional alliances are equally important. Conflicts in neighboring countries like Yemen and Syria have had a destabilizing effect on the region and could hinder Saudi Arabia's growth. Promoting peace and stability in the region would not only serve its own interests, but also contribute to a broader economic integration, something that's crucial for the kingdom's long-term prosperity. Furthermore, global alliances like the G20, of which Saudi Arabia is a member, provide a platform for the kingdom to advocate for its interests and collaborate on global challenges. In an increasingly interconnected world, diplomacy and strategic partnerships are as important as domestic reforms in shaping a nation's trajectory. Saudi Arabia's success in navigating these external factors will be key to realizing its ambitious plans for the future. After all this discussion, let us return to the fundamental question. Do you think Saudi Arabia could become the world's most powerful country within 10 years? This is the million-dollar question, and the answer depends on one's definition of power. If power is measured solely in economic terms, then Saudi Arabia might just make it to the top 10. But to be the most powerful country in the world, it needs to not just be economically strong, but also have significant military, diplomatic, and cultural clout. Considering the sheer power and influence of nations like the United States, China, and India, it's hard to imagine Saudi Arabia overtaking them in just 10 years. Moreover, global power is not just about raw strength, but also about soft power. The ability to attract and influence through culture, values, and policies. In this realm, Saudi Arabia faces an uphill task due to its human rights record and its strict social policies. While the kingdom has initiated some reforms, whether they are enough to transform the country's global image in such a short span remains to be seen. Finally, technological innovation is another key driver of national power. Here again, Saudi Arabia is lagging behind. It's home to some promising startups, but its research and development spending is relatively low compared to global leaders. In conclusion, while Saudi Arabia has the potential to be a major player on the global stage, it's unlikely to become the most powerful country in the world within 10 years. Its best bet is to focus on its strengths, leverage its strategic location, and maintain good relations with global powers. So what's the most realistic scenario in your opinion? In my opinion, the most realistic scenario is that Saudi Arabia will become a leading regional economic power, an important financial and commercial hub, an influential player in global energy markets. Even in the renewable energy era, and a model for social and economic change in the region. However, it would still need decades of hard work to become a true contender for the title of world's most powerful country. Thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please do, and forget to leave a thumbs up to get notified when we upload new videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you soon.